Hey, what's going on, guys? Patriot Prime here once again with another episode of the SITREP. And I'm here with Matt, aka Mateo Potato from YouTube. Matt, how are you now?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a little bit later here, but you know what? I'm doing pretty well so far. So,
Excellent, excellent. Well, first, why don't you tell my people a little bit about yourself?
I do Transformer reviews on YouTube. I do stop motions every now and then. I film, short film projects. I do Star Wars reviews. But the main bulk of my channel is basically me sitting down with a Transformer and just saying my thoughts on it, talking about it. Some jokes here and there, some stop motion here and there in the review. So that's basically what I do.
Excellent. And I'm going to let everybody know, I believe you are my youngest YouTuber that I've had on the SITREP. I've got to know, how old are you, buddy?
I just turned 23 last week, so.
Oh, yeah, you're half of me. All right, well, let me explain how the SITREP works. It's a series of 10 questions that I ask. The first 5 are regarding you and your history of Transformers. The last 5 is questions about you being a YouTuber. And I think you and I first met via a YouTube challenge through Facebook. Was that correct?
I believe so, yeah, from Transformers and such. Although I think I had seen your work prior to, but I don't quite remember.
You were one of the first guys I met when I was doing YouTube and started doing Facebook. And I know you and I have been Facebook buddies for quite a while now.
Yeah.
All right, well, anyway, we'll get right to it. Question number 1. What's the appeal of Transformers for you?
Honestly, it's the mind puzzle aspect. You know, Transformers has always been, it's a toy first, it's a mind puzzle second, and then it's a robot third, or a car third, however way you look at it. So I've always been interested in mind puzzles. I always had like those weird chain and ball things where you always had to take the chain off the ball and it took you like 3 or 4 hours to do it. So mind puzzles were really always my thing, and I think the reason I got into those was because of Transformers, you know. Trying to figure out how they transformed. I would always buy them secondhand on a flea market, so I never had instructions. So I was always trying to fidget. You know, I didn't even know G1 Optimus Prime had ratcheted legs, you know, until probably until last year when I started messing with mine a little bit more. So,
Cool.
you know, it's always that aspect of it.
So you, excuse me, so you being a younger fan, my question number 2, I know is definitely going to be different. Aside from G1, which is always the right answer, what is your favorite Transformer fiction? But first, what is your G1? What's the Transformers you grew up with?
Oh man, my G1 is a mix between RID 2001 and Armada. I got into Transformers right in between that sweet spot where you had the RID toys still on the shelf and the new Armada stuff was coming out. And I just thought it was also cool. You know, I had the orange bulldozer from RID 2001. I think it's Wedge, the Build King set, and I had the Bendy Prime from Armada. And those were like two of my first non-flea market acquisitions from Transformers.
Which one was Bendy Prime?
He was the deluxe Armada Optimus Prime, the little one that came with the
came with the little jet that turned into a gun.
Yes, that one.
Okay, I've got that guy. I didn't know that's what he was called. You taught me something.
I know that it seems like everywhere I go, they called him Bendy Prime because he had actual joints, as opposed to like the bigger one that came out later that I guess was just a brick.
I thought you was talking about some kind of Gumby bendy thing.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I heard it, I didn't know what they were talking about, and then people referred to my review on it, and I was like, oh, I guess that's a thing.
So anyway, back to the question: what is your favorite Transformers fiction?
I gotta probably go with either animated or Armada, simply because I recently just watched animated before I moved, and I really enjoyed it. I liked the different aspects of the storytelling. I liked the twists and turns that they added. You know, kind of added to the Transformers lore, along with a lot of the older stuff that they brought back and made popular again. But Armada was really my G1. So like, there's a lot of moments from that show that I remember and that I really hold dear. So I would probably have to say Armada with that one. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but
I can't, excuse me, I can't remember much about that show at all. I think that came out while I was in Iraq. I remember,
it
I remember the toys being out, and I remember getting, when I was overseas, we had internet cafes, and this was when I was kind of getting in collecting, and I was buying stuff on eBay and sending home to my wife constantly. So I know I got a lot of Armada stuff. I know there was some Energon stuff, but I can't remember anything about that cartoon other than the mini cons talked like R2D2. That's
Pretty much. It was in that like Pokemon-esque realm where it was an anime that they brought over and dubbed, you know, and just kind of put on Cartoon Network for forever. I remember I used to watch it before I went to school every morning at about 5:30 in the morning. I would watch Armada, and then I would watch that old cartoon called Zoids because I thought they were the same thing for a little while, and then I would go off to school.
I saw
So
where they're making a comeback.
I did see that too. My mother actually sent that to me. She goes, "Look what I found." So,
I remember having some of those as a kid, so they've been around for a while.
oh yeah.
All right, sir. Moving on. Question number 3. Do you have a favorite figure or grail, one that you will never let go of? Say you got
Oh,
to sell your whole collection tomorrow. This one's not going anywhere.
I would have to say that is my carded G2 Sea Spray. Because Sea Spray was my very first Transformer. I went with my great grandfather who ran flea markets and did a lot of Grange stuff. They just got together and did sales for the community and whatnot. So he used to take me to those, and he was a big car guy. You know, he collected model cars, he collected little Hot Wheels and model boats, basically anything that was cars related. And he bought a Sea Spray, a Cosmos, and I want to say the other one was a G1 First Aid because he thought they were Hot Wheels cars. And he would always let me play with them. So I was playing with him on the wooden floor, and I pulled Sea Spray's legs out to transform him, and I thought I broke it. And I was terrified because I was like, he just bought this. I just broke it. What am I going to do? And then we found out it transformed. So that was like my introduction to Transformers, but it was really like those fond memories of like going over to his house every weekend, playing with like that Sea Spray, having a fun time with him. So, and a couple years ago, I want to say it was last August or so, a fan was nice enough to send me a carded G2 Sea Spray, and they sent it as a surprise. So when I opened that thing up, I was like, yeah, that's going on my wall, and that's never getting rid of. So that's probably the holy grail that's never leaving my collection.
I'm trying my damnedest to find that Walmart reissue Gears because Gears was my very first Transformer. So I just want to have one on the card. So
I have yet to see any of those. I think I saw a tailgate once, and I already have a tailgate, so I didn't bother to pick it up. But
there was a huge display around Christmas time that had all kinds of that whole series. I actually got 2 Bumblebees, one on card, one displayed in vehicle mode. And of course, I've got an original G1 too. All right, number 4. What figure is your white whale? This is your most wanted toy. If you found this toy, you could stop collecting. This is your main figure.
I would probably. It's a two-way tie. I would probably have to say
Most
it's
ties are
between.
two-way.
Yeah. I would probably have to say it's a G1 Lio Kaiser, the Transformers Victory Combiner, or a G1 Star Saber. Those are like my top 2 holy grails that I've been looking for a very long time. And it's just really hard to find them, But if I ever found a G1 Star Saber and a G1 Lio Kaiser in perfect condition, I would probably give up collecting Transformers for a while,
That's been everybody's answer. It's always for a while. I'll say, oh, you could stop collecting. Oh, I'm never stopping collecting.
Well, I gotta collect other things too, so I would probably take a break from Transformers and put more money towards the other collections. But those two would definitely be a stopping point for me.
Mine's a G1 Overlord. I know he's just a big brick, but I've just been obsessed with this figure once I discovered he existed. I want to get this guy.
He looks really good. So yeah.
All right, number 5. What is your favorite Transformer character? Any fiction, any media.
I would probably have to say the G1 version of Star Saber, just because he's very elegant and he's very kind and caring, but he's also very much a badass. In the Victory cartoon, he was always an epic swordsman, getting into like these really epic duels, taking on combiners by himself. And I think it's the fact that it wasn't the stoic Optimus Prime or the Optimus Primal or the Hot Rod or anything like that, because those are always everybody's favorite leaders. Those are always like the generic. I'll call it the generic answer. Everybody loves Optimus Prime. Not everybody, but a lot of people like Hot Rod. And Star Saber is kind of like the underdog of like the Autobot leaders personally. So he's always kind of been my favorite. Plus, he just looks really awesome. So.
And you really surprised me with that one. I was not expecting that, especially from a 23-year-old. You want a, you love a classic Japanese G1 figure. That's awesome.
I mean, I almost said animated Swindle, because Swindle in the animated series is just a greasy slime ball of a character, and he was probably my favorite part of that show. So.
I need to watch that again. I watched it all on Cartoon Network. I didn't like it at first, but as the story progressed, I got along with it, especially with all the G1 throwbacks, and I loved their Megatron. I loved his voice.
Absolutely.
He was awesome.
Absolutely, yeah. I found that Hasbro has like a whole channel on like on my Roku television. So I put that on there, and they have all G1 animated, and then a couple other series too. So I watched it that way.
There's one on PlayStation 4 that I have. It's called Tubi TV. It's got Armada, Energon, animated, G.I. Joe, G1. I don't know why I threw G.I. Joe in there. Hoo-ah. But all right, now we're getting on to the YouTube questions, and this isn't one of my questions that I have on my list, but this is something I want to know personally. Mateo Potato, where'd that name come from?
Well, there's actually a really funny story about that one. So I was not the popular kid in school at all. Like, I was the kid who kept to himself, and I kind of like shied away from. I had friends, but like I would shy away from being in like big groups of people, right? And all through high school, there was two friends, or all through elementary school. Sorry, I had two friends, and I didn't get to see them very often because we had different classes or whatever. And this one girl, I won't say her name, but like she would always shout out in the hallway as I crossed by, "Hey, it's Mateo Potato!" And I think she only started saying that because Matthew in Spanish is Mateo, and the only thing she could think of that rhymed was potato. So like anytime I would walk through in the hallway, that's what I would hear if she was crossing, or like 3 or 4 other people would call me that. And then they pulled a prank, and over the intercom one day, instead of saying my name, they're like, "Can you come down to the office?" They said, "Mateo Potato, can you come down to the office?" So that kind of ended up being a thing. So when I made a YouTube channel, I was trying to think of something really obscure, because everybody does like their first and last name, or thinks of like a username with numbers and whatnot in it. So I was trying to find something that would be kind of unique, but at the same time really simple and really familiar once you've heard it a couple of times. So I just ended up going with that.
That works. It works.
Yep.
All right, so on to the real questions now. What possessed you to do toy reviews on YouTube?
I think it's the fact that, honestly, up here in Maine, we don't have a lot of collectors, or I don't know a lot of collectors, I know there's some down in New England farther south, and there's collectors all over the country, but like up here in Maine, it just feels like I'm honestly the only one, because I've never run into another one ever, anywhere. So me kind of being by myself it kind of felt lonely at times. You know, I would have my collection and I would look at it and I'd be like, wow, I really wish there was a way that, you know, I could embrace this with other people and kind of nerd out a little bit with other people. But then that's actually when I discovered toy reviews. And at first it was like my little brother was watching them and he was watching like, oh, McDonald's toy reviews. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna bother with that. But then I think I stumbled across Evangelist and Theo Adams and Pia were like the first main three that I stumbled across. So I watched their videos. And I was like, you know what? I don't have to like meet up with people in person. You know, I don't have to try to go to conventions and arrange these meetings. I can just do it on here, and people can see like my passion for it. And you know, I'm I'll say an aspiring filmmaker because that's what I would like to go to school for. So, and I had done some classes in high school. So I thought, you know what? Why don't I take that and then apply some of my filming techniques that I've learned and kind of like mesh the two together. So that's kind of why I started it. And if you watch my first couple of reviews, they're really god awful. I just point a toy at a camera and talk and make dumb jokes. But
you mean point a camera at a toy?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Can't talk today.
I like that. Point a toy at a camera. Let's get.
Yeah, right. No, I just put the camera at the toy and I rambled on for a bit. I made a stupid joke about a Gur punch instead of a Gur walk, about a half transformed Starscream, and then people just kind of liked it. So
yeah, it's funny when you go back and look at your old stuff. It's like you're so trying to find yourself. I think I've went through a couple different phases before. I think I've got to lock in on how I want to do what I do now, but it's always funny to go back and watch some of your old stuff and you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I did that the other day. So, you know, I was uploading a video and on my phone, I got to try and keep my phone awake while I'm doing it. So I scrolled all the way down to the bottom. I'm like, oh God, here's the old stuff, you know, from like 2 or 3 years ago. So I was looking at it. I'm like, this is really bad. And I should probably go back and redo some of these. But then I figured, you know, that's part of the charm of like the older videos, you know, is they're not done very well. And you can kind of see the progression.
I like how the Collector 75 is one of my favorite reviewers. I mean, this was the guy I always went to for G1, and he would do that. I think one of the reviews he did, because when I was wanting to buy my G1 Thunderwing, I watched one of his reviews, and then I think it was a few months later, he redid it. Once you start getting a little better, he redid the review again. He calls them his G1 redos, REDUX. So,
yeah.
There's another shout out for you, Collector 75. I want you on here. So
I watch that shit rep because that's it rep because you know
shit rep.
I told you I can't talk today. I'm sorry.
Hi, this is Patriot Prime, and welcome to a new episode of the shit rep. Yeah. You youngins.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. What keeps inspiring you to get in front of the camera?
Honestly, I'll use my latest video as an example. I found a figure that, you know, I thought I would never find in Studio Series scrap metal because distribution here is absolutely terrible.
I just watched that one yesterday.
Oh, thank you. But I found it and I'm like, oh man, I got to do a video on this because, you know, I'm as somebody who's I'll say kind of excited for the Studio Series Devastator. Just how big it's going to be and the fact that they all combine. I'm kind of super excited to at least see how it turns out. So I wanted to like kind of sink my teeth into that review-wise and be like the first person to get out a scrap metal review and get all the, you know, get the first takes and the fresh hot news on it. You know what I mean? So that was kind of my aspiration for that one. But just about every single review that I do is an older figure. Like I did Animated Soundwave a couple months ago, and it's basically just I just want to say my opinion about the toy. You know, I'll take a toy off the shelf, mess with it, be like, oh, I wish I had somebody to talk to about this because I think this toy is really good. Oh, wait a minute. And then I'll set up the camera and I'll just talk about it for half an hour, 45 minutes, edit it, and pop it on the computer.
Nice. All right, where are we at now? There are thousands of toy reviewers on YouTube. What makes you any different from the rest?
I personally, I would say I'm the average Joe Schmo. You know, I'm not a. I was never like big into toy collecting. I wasn't a big toy enthusiast kind of guy. I don't know engineering in and out, but I do know what I like, and what I like is a good, simple mind puzzle that I can sit there for a couple hours, mess back and forth with, and enjoy. And after seeing like reviews on YouTube and whatnot, I figured I would take what works for me and kind of take tiny elements of what works for other people and mix it all together and just bring you this average guy who doesn't know a single thing about, you know, toy collecting or engineering or the whole process, but I just know what the character is. I know that the toy is enjoyable for me, and here's what I think about it, so it might be enjoyable for my viewers.
And you have a great sense of humor. You crack me up with some of the stuff you do in these videos. I love it.
That's a lot of years of ad lib and a lot of years of improv. So,
All right, number 9. What's your thoughts on the Transformers social community, i.e., YouTube, Facebook, etc.? And do you have any special shout outs?
oh man. Well, I know that the YouTube community, from what I've seen, there's like one or two bad eggs here and there who try to go at each other's throats, but other than that, a lot of like the YouTube community is really, really humble and really kind and accepting, you know, super supportive of brand new fans. I remember my first video I did, I had M from Transformers and Video Games when it was on the old channel. He was probably one of the first people to comment on my video way back when. From the Facebook page, we've got the people from Transformers and such. You know, that whole Facebook group is filled with nothing but kind-hearted people. And, you know, you've got Twitter, who's just about everybody on there is so kind and, you know, well-meaning.
I cannot figure Twitter out. I've had one for about a year, and I just for life of me cannot figure Twitter out, which it may be a good thing. But
I just post what I think every now and then, or post a picture or two, and then people seem to like it, so I just keep doing that. But like back on the topic of like Facebook groups, you've got Transformers and Such, which is an awesome Facebook group. You've got the New England Transformers community, which is a really awesome group. You've got the Transformers YouTube community Facebook page on there. And like I said, you've got a couple bad eggs here and there with people with like pages who are like, oh, everything that's not G1 is garbage or dog shit, you know. But and if you think otherwise, you're a dumbass. But you know, you've got those kind of pages, but I try to stay away from those because it's nothing but toxicity. But yeah, for the most part, the entire community across the board is nothing but kind-hearted, well-meaning individuals who really just want to share their love of Transformers and collecting with other people.
yep, prime example right here. I mean, this is awesome, and we met via YouTube and Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
We're
like,
two dudes that were probably just passing the toy aisle, wouldn't even look at each other.
Yeah, you know, we met Transformers and Such, and then I watched a couple of your videos, commented, subscribed to you, and that's pretty much how we met. That's how I met one of my my good buddies. I'm gonna kind of move into the shoutouts. Shoutouts to 01 Trans Fan, my buddy Dakota, who I met because somebody posted in Transformers and Such. I think it was Chris and Natalie from Six Shot All in a Blur reviews. Shout out to them as well. But they posted. They were like, oh, here's our monthly challenge where we find a very small YouTuber and share their page, and I think it had to be like under 200 or something like that. And I went and found
that was the one
channel.
where I met you. You shared me. That was the challenge.
Yep, because you were I think you were the newest channel that I had found, and then I shared your page, and then they shared 01 Trans Fan, and I watched his stuff, subscribed to him, and now we've become good friends. You know, I've been on his show a couple times. He's been in a couple of my stop motions, and that's kind of how I met like that side. And then just basically anybody in Transformers and such. You know, Chris and Natalie from Six Shot All in a Blur, really excellent people.
And they
And
run a tight ship. That is one of my favorite Transformer Facebook pages. I love that one. I spend more time in that on that page than I do any other. So,
yeah,
but definite shout out to you guys. And I'd like to get you on here too. So,
yep. And I think the last shout out I've got for the night, or a couple, I've got two more shout outs. I've got Larry Arts Production, who I kind of met through Zero One Transfan, who does like these stop motion kind of Transformer comedy shorts. They're really good. And then, oh man, I literally just had it in my head and I just lost it.
you're not that important.
Yeah, yeah. But no, those are the shout outs.
Excellent. All right, last question, buddy. Do you have any channel goals for yourself, and where can our viewers find you? This is your chance to plug yourself.
All right. Basically, for the channel, what I want to do this year is kind of just double the amount of subscribers that I have now. You know, I think that's a good yearly goal. You know, double what you started with for the year before. You know, just I plan on doing more stop motions because those are always really fun to make. More videos like my isolation video, I think would be really fun to make. More short films like that. Because that's kind of stuff that I just thought off the top of my head. I didn't make a script for it, didn't write it. I literally just sat down and was like, what would be a good film idea that would kind of be out of the blue from the normal stuff on my channel? So I made it over the course of a week, put it on there, and it was a lot of fun to do. So I'll probably end up doing this.
I didn't realize that was a short film. I just saw it pop up, so I clicked it. I'm watching going, this is the weirdest Transformer review I've ever seen. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, no, I was, somebody had asked me prior to that video coming out, oh, when's your next Transformer review? What figure are you going to do next? And it was because we were starting to pack up and starting to move that most of my collection was put away. So I'm like, a lot of the stuff that I still had out was stuff that I already done videos on. So I'm like, I need something to kind of keep my channel alive for a little while longer while we're getting ready to move. And what's something weird and different that I can do? So more videos like that I probably want to do later on this year once this place is kind of put together. And basically just expand my, I'm going to say group of friends as far as like Transformer community friends go. I know I am trying to get on more talk shows or podcasts with Steel City Bots. That's a podcast that goes on. That's actually a bunch of younger. I think I'm one of the older ones on that podcast because I think Eric is the guy who runs it is a couple years younger than I am. So, but yeah, more podcasts, more videos, more short films. And that's basically it. You know, maybe try to double my subscribers, but we'll see how that goes. So,
well, hopefully I can help you out with that because I will put a link to your channel in the description of this video, and at the very end when I do my little Optimus Prime with the flag waving, I will have a link to your newest video and a subscribe button to you as well. And also, didn't you just recently get engaged?
I did, yes, back in December. That's actually a funny story too. You know, my great grandfather, who I was talking about earlier, when he passed away, we had a memorial brick engraved with his favorite saying, "Now take your time and hurry up." We had that engraved on a brick, and that's actually at Fenway Park. So what we did was we went down to Boston and hung out with her grandparents and her mother and stepfather for the weekend. So we went to Fenway tour. We went to all these restaurants. So I took her to his brick because she never got a chance to meet him, and I had never seen the brick in person. So we went there, and it was a complete surprise to her. Like, she actually had no idea, and she's been pestering me for a year. She's like, I'll do that when we get married, whenever that is. And she would always like give me like the glance. So I'm actually surprised she didn't catch it ahead of time.
Well, congratulations on that.
Well, thank you.
Well, that's pretty much it. That wraps up our sit rep. I appreciate you coming on with me tonight. I know you've been pretty excited about it. I hit you up Monday, right?
Yeah, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. You know, it's a really fun to just sit, chat with you. A couple of buddies just sitting here talking about Transformers and our hobbies and what we enjoy doing, you know.
That's why I love it. I have met so many great people doing this. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Once again, this is Matt from Mateo Potato. Check out his link in the description, and we'll catch you next time. This is Patriot Prime, signing out. Hoo-ah! Hey, I really appreciate you guys stopping by my channel. Don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe. Also, check out some of my other videos that I've done on Generation 1 Transformers, Modern Era Transformers, and Toy Hacks Repro Label sets. Once again, this is Patriot Prime. Hoo-ah!